I was 29 when my mother told me I wasn't welcome at an event I'd paid for. The text came on a Tuesday afternoon while I was reviewing campaign proposals at my desk. My phone buzzed, and I glanced down to see her name. "Timothy, we need to talk about Saturday." I felt my stomach tighten before I even knew why. I typed back, asking what Sean needed. The three dots appeared and disappeared twice before her response finally came through. He doesn't want any distractions at the event. This day is really important to him, and he's worried about anything that might take attention away from his achievement. We've decided it's best if you don't come to the graduation or the celebration. I read it 3 times. The words didn't change. I was being uninvited from my own brother's graduation, from a celebration I'd been funding without them even knowing. My hands started shaking as I set the phone down and walked to the window. Below me, people moved through their normal Tuesday, completely unaware that my family had just erased me. Another message appeared. "This is Sean's special day. Don't make it about you. Just let him have this." I picked up my phone and opened my banking app, pulled up the last 6 months of transactions. There they were, lined up like evidence in a trial I hadn't known I was part of. Venue deposit, catering balance, photography contract, decorator advance, sound system rental, chair and table package, every single charge connected to Saturday's celebration. $6,850. I'd paid for an event I was now banned from attending because my presence might be a distraction. For most of my adult life, I'd been the person my family called when they needed something. Not when they wanted to celebrate, not when they were planning something special. Just when the bills came due. I work as a marketing director at a tech firm downtown. Good salary, stable career, the kind of life my parents used to say they wanted for both their sons. But somewhere along the way, that accomplishment became invisible. I became the bank account they forgot to thank. Sean is 22, he's graduating from State University with a business degree, and my mother has been talking about it for over a year. She planned this massive celebration, invited 150 relatives and friends, booked photographers, created a Facebook event page with photos of Sean and updates about the party schedule. I wasn't listed as a host. I wasn't mentioned anywhere. What she didn't know was that I'd been copied on all the vendor invoices. The event hall had my credit card on file from a family reunion 2 years ago, and when they needed the deposit, they just charged my card automatically. The catering company did the same. So did the photographer, the decorator, the rental company. I watched those charges appear on my statements month after month, and each time I thought about saying something, each time I stayed quiet. I paid for most of Sean's college expenses, too. The tuition payments came directly from my account, set up on autopay during his freshman year. Mom had called me crying about student loans, about how they couldn't afford the full cost. I said yes immediately, because that's what family does. I never asked for recognition. I just wanted Sean to have opportunities. But at every family gathering, when relatives asked how Sean managed to afford such an expensive school, Mom smiled and said he'd earned scholarships. Dad would add something about Sean's work ethic, his part-time campus job. Nobody mentioned the $47,000 I'd transferred over 4 years. I started noticing the pattern about 3 years ago. Mom would call when she needed money for Sean's textbooks, but forget to invite me to his birthday dinner. Dad would ask me to wire funds for Sean's spring break trip, but wouldn't respond when I shared news about my promotion. I was the emergency contact for financial problems and nothing else. I sat back down at my desk and opened my email. Found the confirmation messages from every vendor. Riverside Event Hall, Classic Catering Company, Moments Photography, Elegant Affairs Decorating, Premier Sound Systems, Party Rentals Plus. My fingers moved across the keyboard and I typed a response to my mother's text. Short, simple, no emotion. Good! I was the one paying for the celebration. I hit send and watched the message deliver. Then I began drafting emails. The first went to Riverside Event Hall. This message is to inform you that I'm canceling the event scheduled for May 18th. I am the cardholder on file and the individual who paid all deposits and balances. Please confirm cancellation and refund timeline. I sent the same message to every vendor. 6 emails within 10 minutes. Then I called my credit card company and put a hold on any future charges from those vendors. The representative asked if there was fraud involved. I said no, just protection against unauthorized charges. I forwarded my mother the 6 confirmation emails. Every invoice, every receipt, every charge. 17 attachments documenting exactly how much I'd paid for Sean's celebration. The dots appeared and disappeared for 5 minutes. No response came. I gathered my laptop and files, told my supervisor I needed to leave early for a family emergency, and drove home with my radio off. The silence filled my car like fog. At home, I sat on my couch with a bottle of water and waited. My phone stayed silent for 20 minutes. Then it exploded. Mom's call came first. I declined it. Then Dad's. Declined. Sean's. Declined. The texts started pouring in. You can't do this. This is Sean's graduation. Stop being selfish. Call me right now. How could you ruin your brother's day? We'll pay you back. You're being unreasonable. Everyone is already invited. Just let this go. I turned my phone face down and went to my bedroom, lay on top of the covers and stared at my ceiling fan spinning slowly. Everything I'd done for them, every payment, every transfer, every time I said yes when they needed money, it all came down to this. I was valuable enough to fund their lives, but not important enough to be included in them. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in the dark listening to my phone vibrate against my nightstand. 23 calls between 6 p.m. and midnight. I counted them by the buzzing pattern. The voicemails piled up. I didn't listen to them. Around 1 in the morning. The buzzing stopped, and the silence felt heavier than the noise. I got up and made coffee even though it was the middle of the night, sat at my kitchen table with my laptop, and opened my banking history. Went back further than 6 months. I went back 4 years. Sean's first tuition payment, $11,750. Books and fees, $1,200. Dorm deposit, $800. Semester 2 tuition, another $11,750. Every semester for 4 years. Every textbook bill, every student fee, every housing cost that Mom said they couldn't cover. Total, $47,280. I created a spreadsheet, listed every payment, every date, every amount, added the graduation party expenses. The grand total came to $54,130. $54,000 I'd given to support my brother's future. A future he wanted to celebrate without me. I thought about other things, too. The times I'd skipped vacations to save money for their emergencies. The car repairs I delayed because Mom needed help with Sean's summer housing. The dates I'd canceled because Dad called asking for a loan to cover Sean's spring break trip. My phone lit up at 6 a.m., Mom calling again. I declined it. A text followed immediately. Timothy, please. The vendors are sending cancellation confirmations. People are asking questions. We need to fix this. Call me. I set the phone down and showered, got dressed for work, even though I'd requested the day off. I needed structure, routine, something normal to hold on to. At 8 a.m., another text arrived. This one from Sean. Dude, seriously? You're canceling my graduation party because you're mad about an invitation? That's insane. I stared at that message. He called it an invitation, like I was just another guest, like I hadn't funded his entire college experience, like I was overreacting to a small social slight. I typed a response and deleted it. Typed another and deleted that too. Finally settled on nothing. Let the silence speak. More messages came throughout the morning. Cousins asking what was happening. Aunts saying I should forgive and forget. Uncle Zachary texting that family disagreements shouldn't ruin important events. None of them knew what I'd paid. None of them understood why I'd canceled. They just saw me as the difficult one, the person causing drama. At 10 a.m., Dad's text came through. Son, your mother is very upset. Whatever is going on, we can talk about it. But you need to uncancel these vendors. People are counting on this party. I replied to that one, only that one. I'm not uncanceling anything. If you want a party, you're welcome to plan one with your own money. His response was immediate. Don't be childish. This is about Sean, not you. I didn't reply again. That evening, I drove to my parents' house. Not because I wanted to talk, but because I needed to get something. I parked across the street and waited 5 minutes before walking to the door. Knocked instead of using my key. Mom answered, her face puffy, eyes red. She looked at me like I was a stranger. Are you here to fix this? She asked. I'm here to get my things. What things? The box of my documents in the basement storage. I need it. She stepped aside but didn't speak. I walked through the living room where Sean sat on the couch with his laptop. He glanced up at me, then back at his screen. No greeting, no acknowledgement. Dad stood in the kitchen doorway. "Timothy, we need to talk about Saturday." "There's nothing to talk about. You can't just cancel everything." "I already did." I walked downstairs to the basement, found the plastic storage box with my old tax returns and important papers, lifted it, and headed back up. Mom waited at the top of the stairs. "Please, don't do this," she said quietly. "Sean worked so hard." "I know he did. I paid for that work. We would have found a way. But you didn't have to find a way because I handled it. And now you're telling me I'm too much of a distraction to attend. That's not what we meant. That's exactly what you meant." I carried the box to my car. Nobody followed me. Nobody tried to stop me. I drove away from their house feeling hollower than when I'd arrived. Back home, I opened the box and found what I needed. The paperwork from Sean's first semester. The original financial aid letter showing the gap between scholarships and actual costs. The email from Mom asking if I could help. Just this once. Just until we get back on our feet. Just this once had turned into 4 years. I found something else, too. A birthday card from 10 years ago when I turned 19. Mom had written inside, "We're so proud of you and so grateful for the person you've become. You're the kind of son every parent dreams of." I couldn't remember the last time she'd said something like that to me. Couldn't remember the last time anyone in my family had treated me like I mattered beyond my paycheck. The memory came flooding back then. The moment that started the pattern. I was 16. Sean was 9. Dad lost his job and money got tight. I worked part-time at a grocery store, and one night Mom asked if I could help with groceries that week. I gave her everything from my paycheck except $20. She cried and hugged me, said I'd saved them. I felt needed then, important, like I had value. Maybe that's why I kept saying yes, because those moments of gratitude felt like love, because being the solution made me visible. But gratitude eventually becomes expectation, and expectation becomes entitlement, and entitlement becomes erasure. Thursday morning, 2 days before the graduation ceremony, Mom showed up at my apartment. I heard the knock at 7 a.m. while making breakfast. Through the peephole, I saw her standing in the hallway, holding a folder. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. "We need to resolve this," she said. "There's nothing to resolve." "Yes, there is. You've put us in an impossible situation. Sean's graduation is in 2 days. The party was supposed to happen Saturday evening. Everyone has already made plans." "Then everyone can change their plans." She held up the folder. "I brought the receipts. We'll pay you back for everything, every dollar. Just uncancel so the party can happen." "No. Timothy, please be reasonable." "I am being reasonable. You told me not to come because I'm a distraction. I respected that by removing my contribution." "That's not what I meant, and you know it." "Then what did you mean, Mom? Explain it to me." She opened her mouth and closed it. Tried again. "Sean has anxiety. He gets overwhelmed. We thought having fewer people there would help him focus." "I'm not people. I'm his brother. I'm your son." "I know that." "Then why wasn't I worth including? Why does every celebration revolve around Sean while I'm just the person who pays for things?" "That's not true." "When was the last time you called me just to talk? When was the last family dinner where anyone asked about my life? When was the last time I got invited somewhere that didn't involve me bringing my wallet?" She couldn't answer. The silence stretched between us like a canyon. "I'll uncancel everything if you come to the graduation," she finally said. "No." "What do you want then?" "I don't want anything anymore. That's the point. I'm done wanting to be included. I'm done hoping you'll see me. I'm just done." "You're overreacting." "I'm responding exactly appropriately. You drew the line. I'm respecting it." She tried a different approach. "Your father and I will be humiliated. People will ask questions. They'll think we did something wrong." "You did do something wrong. You took me for granted for years, and then uninvited me from an event I funded. We'll tell everyone you had a work emergency. We'll cover for you." "I don't need you to cover for me. I need you to understand why this hurts." Her face hardened. "Fine. Be selfish. Ruin your brother's graduation. But don't come crying to us when you regret this." She left. I closed the door and locked it. That afternoon, Sean called. I answered this time. Dude, what is your problem? His voice was sharp, angry. No problem, just respecting your wishes. My wishes? I just didn't want drama at my graduation. And now you won't have any. No party means no drama. That's not what I meant. What did you mean, Sean? I meant I didn't want you making it about yourself. Mom said you've been weird lately, complaining about money or whatever. I haven't complained once. Whatever, just fix this. Everyone's mad at you. Did you know I paid your tuition? Silence. Did you know I've been paying for your college this whole time? Mom said there were scholarships. There were some scholarships. I paid the rest, $47,000. More silence. I didn't ask you to do that, he finally said. I know you didn't. I did it because you're my brother, but apparently that doesn't make me important enough to attend your graduation. Dude, it's not that deep. It is exactly that deep. Enjoy your graduation, Sean. Enjoy your party, too, if you manage to put one together in 2 days. I hung up. Friday was quiet. No calls, no texts, no visitors. I spent the day organizing, not just documents, but my entire life. I opened a new checking account at a different bank, transferred my direct deposit, updated my billing information for all my personal accounts. Then I did something I should have done years ago. I pulled my credit reports from all 3 bureaus, sat at my kitchen table and read through every line. That's when I found it. Sean's student loans, the private ones he took out sophomore year, the ones Mom said they'd handle. My name was listed as co-signer. $18,500 in loans I didn't know I'd co-signed for. First payment due in 6 months. I called the loan servicer, confirmed my name was on the documents, asked when I'd signed. They read back a date from 2 years ago. I'd been out of town that weekend for a work conference. Someone had forged my signature. I need to report fraud, I told the representative. Are you certain you didn't sign these documents? I'm certain. I was in San Diego on this date. I have hotel receipts and flight confirmations. They opened an investigation, said they'd contact me within 10 business days, said if fraud was confirmed, they'd remove my name and pursue the matter with the primary borrower. I hung up and sat very still. My parents hadn't just taken my money. They'd taken my identity, used my credit, forged my name to secure loans for Sean's education. Everything I'd paid willingly wasn't enough. They'd wanted more. I opened my laptop and began documenting everything, created a timeline spreadsheet, listed every payment I'd made by date and amount, added the forged loans, calculated interest I'd lose on that money, opportunity costs for delayed investments and retirement contributions. The total impact, $68,000 when accounting for lost investment growth over 4 years. I printed everything, 3 copies, put one in my safe deposit box, gave one to my lawyer with instructions to hold it, kept one at home. My phone buzzed, a text from Dad. We found another venue, smaller place, but it'll work. Party is still on for Saturday at 6 p.m. You should come. Put this behind us. I didn't respond, checked my credit card charges instead. No new charges appeared. They'd figured out their own funding. Another text came an hour later. Mom this time. Please come tomorrow. Sean wants you there. I typed a response. Sean told me himself he didn't want drama. I'm respecting that. She replied immediately. He didn't mean you specifically. He was stressed. He was specific enough. Timothy, please. We're family. I put my phone in a drawer and went for a run, 5 miles through my neighborhood as the sun set. When I got back, I had 14 new messages. I deleted all of them without reading. That evening, I packed a bag, threw in clothes for a week, booked a hotel room across town. I wasn't running. I was protecting my peace. Before I left, I drafted one more email, sent it to my parents and Sean. I will not be attending the graduation or any celebrations. This decision is final. Additionally, I've discovered fraudulent activity on my credit report involving student loans with my forged signature. I've filed formal complaints with the loan servicers. If you forged my signature on any documents, I strongly recommend you consult an attorney. I've also canceled all automatic payments from my accounts related to family expenses. Going forward, I will not be providing financial support. Please do not contact me unless it's a genuine emergency. I hit send, grabbed my bag, drove to the hotel and checked in, turned off my phone, and slept better than I had in weeks. Saturday morning, I woke up in my hotel room and ordered breakfast. Sat by the window eating eggs and toast while the city moved below me. Graduation started at 10 a.m. The party was scheduled for 6 p.m. at whatever venue they'd managed to book. I didn't think about it, didn't check my phone, just existed in the quiet. Around noon, I finally powered on my phone. It exploded with notifications, 73 messages, 41 missed calls. The first message was from Mom, sent at 5:47 a.m. Please reconsider. Sean needs you there. The next was from Dad at 6:15 a.m. Your mother cried herself to sleep. I hope you're happy. Sean at 7:30 a.m. Whatever, dude, don't come. Then the messages shifted. Started coming from cousins, aunts, uncles. Aunt Peyton at 6:45 p.m. Where is everyone? The invite said Riverside Hall. Cousin Cameron at 6:52 p.m. Hall is locked. Nobody here. Is this the right address? Uncle Zachary at 7:01 p.m. Your mother is in tears. What happened to the party? I scrolled through them slowly, piecing together what had occurred. My family had kept using the original venue information for their communications. They'd found a backup location, but hadn't properly informed all 150 guests. Most people showed up to Riverside Hall expecting the celebration they'd been invited to months ago. The hall was dark, locked, empty. Guests stood in the parking lot confused, calling my parents asking what was happening. My mother tried explaining they'd changed venues, but couldn't remember the new place's exact address in her panic. Dad was at the graduation ceremony with Sean and didn't know the backup location details either. More messages painted the picture. Aunt Anna at 7:15 p.m. finally found the real location. It's a community center way out in the suburbs. Most people already left. Cousin Harper at 7:30 p.m. This is so disorganized. No food yet. No decorations. What happened? The backup venue was small. Fit maybe 40 people. They'd ordered basic catering, nothing like the elegant meal originally planned. No photographer showed up because they'd been canceled and couldn't book a replacement. The decorations were homemade, rushed. Sean's celebration turned into a cramped, embarrassing gathering with barely a quarter of the invited guests. The people who did make it spent the evening confused, asking questions my parents couldn't answer. Uncle Zachary sent a long text at 8:47 p.m. I don't know what's going on with your family, but tonight was a disaster. Your mother kept apologizing, saying things got complicated. Sean looked miserable. Half the family left within an hour. I stayed for your brother's sake, but this was poorly handled. Whatever issue caused this mess, you all need to resolve it. Mom's message came at 9:30 p.m. Are you satisfied now? You ruined everything. I read it twice. Felt nothing. No guilt, no satisfaction, just emptiness. I didn't ruin anything. I simply stopped being the invisible foundation holding everything up. What collapsed was their illusion that they could treat me like an ATM and still demand my silent support. Sean texted at 10:15 p.m. Thanks for nothing, Timothy. This was supposed to be my day, and you made it about you. I almost replied to that one, almost pointed out the irony. But I didn't. Let him believe what he wanted. Dad's text arrived at 11:04 p.m. Your mother is devastated. Sean is humiliated. The family is asking questions we can't answer. You've damaged relationships that will take years to repair. I turned the phone off again, ordered room service, watched a movie. Sunday, I checked out of the hotel and drove to a new apartment I'd been viewing the previous week. Signed a lease, started moving my things, didn't tell my parents the address. The messages continued for days. I read them occasionally, but never responded. Mom on Monday. We need to talk about the loans. Please call me. Tuesday. The bank contacted us about fraud claims. You can't be serious about pursuing this. Wednesday. Timothy, answer your phone. This is getting out of control. Sean, on Thursday, everyone at graduation weekend was talking about the party disaster. People are asking me what happened. What am I supposed to say? Dad. On Friday, your mother had to take time off work from stress. I hope you realize what you've done. I didn't respond to any of them, and what I did do was meet with my lawyer. Showed him everything. The forged loan documents, the the payment history, the timeline of financial exploitation. "You have a strong case for fraud," he said. "The signatures don't match your known exemplars. They'll have to pay these loans themselves or face prosecution." "I don't want to prosecute," I told him. "I just want my name off the debt and to be left alone." He drafted letters, sent them to the loan servicers with evidence packages. Within 2 weeks, my name was removed from Sean's loans. The balance transferred entirely to my parents as co-signers. Their monthly payment jumped by $340. They'd have to pay off $18,500 they thought they'd hidden. Mom called when they got the notification. I answered. "How could you?" she said. "Those loans were for Sean's education. You're hurting your brother." I paid for his education. $47,000. Those loans were your decision, made with my forged signature. We were desperate. You were fraudulent. There's a difference. What do we do now? You pay them like you should have done originally. We can't afford that. That's not my problem anymore. Silence. Then, when did you become so cold? I became exactly as cold as you needed me to be. When you needed money, I was warm and generous. When you needed me gone, I disappeared. This is just who I am now. I hung up. Sean tried a next. Left a voicemail. "Look, I'm sorry about the party thing, okay? I was stressed. I didn't mean to hurt you. Can we just move past this? I don't understand why you're being so extreme." I didn't call back. Aunt Anna reached out, with a different approach. "Timothy, I don't know what happened, but I know family conflicts can be resolved. Whatever your parents did, holding a grudge won't help. Sean is still your brother. They're still your family." I responded to her, only her. "I appreciate your concern, but this isn't about holding grudges. It's about recognizing patterns. I've spent years being the family bank account while being excluded from being family in any other way. The graduation was just the clearest example. I'm not angry. I'm just done accepting less than I deserve." She replied, "I understand more than you know. Take your time, but don't close the door forever." I thought about that. The door, whether it was closed or just no longer available for them to walk through whenever they needed something. 3 weeks after graduation, I had lunch with my best friend, Philip. Told him everything. "Man, that's heavy," he said. "How are you holding up?" Honestly, better than expected. I thought I'd feel guilty, but mostly I just feel lighter. No regrets about missing the graduation? None. I missed a ceremony where I wasn't wanted. I didn't miss anything real. What about your family? You think you'll ever reconcile? Maybe, if they can recognize what happened and genuinely change. But I'm not waiting for it. I'm building a life that doesn't require their validation. He nodded. That's probably healthy. A month passed, then 2. My new apartment became home. I started painting again, something I'd given up years ago when every spare dollar went to family emergencies. Joined a recreational sports league. Made new friends who knew me as Timothy, not as someone's bank account. Mom sent one final text in July. "Sean is struggling with his loan payments. His job doesn't pay much. Could you help him get started?" I read it 3 times. Felt the old pull to say yes, to be needed, to be valued through providing. Then I deleted it, because I'd learned something important these past months. Family isn't about who you help. It's about who sees you, who values you beyond what you can give them, who invites you to celebrations, not because you're paying, but because your presence matters. My family had taught me I was a distraction. I'd finally learned to believe them, and in believing them, I'd found freedom. The graduation celebration they'd planned would have been elegant, full of guests and laughter and photos. Sean would have been the center of attention, celebrated and admired. Instead, what they got was confusion, embarrassment, and 40 uncomfortable people in a community center asking questions nobody wanted to answer. I didn't attend, but in a way, my absence was the clearest statement I'd ever made. Sometimes the best revenge isn't showing up to prove a point. Sometimes it's letting people see exactly what their world looks like when you stop holding it together. Sean got his graduation, just not the one he wanted. And I got something better. I got myself back. Family isn't who needs you. It's who values you when you have nothing to give. My absence made them face the truth that without me, everything fell apart. Not because I wanted it to, but because they'd built their entire structure on someone they refused to see. I don't know if we'll ever repair what broke. Maybe one day they'll understand what they lost. Maybe they won't. Either way, I'm no longer waiting for that moment. I'm living for myself now, and that feels like the kind of freedom I should have claimed years ago. Sometimes the best revenge isn't showing up. It's letting people live without the person who held everything together. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.